Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I have a new place that I'm filming at. Of course, we didn't leave our old apartment or anything. We're still in our good old nice apartment. It's Good Friday. Hope you're all doing well today and not forgetting what Christ did for us. Anyway, my wife is working in the next room and stuff. We're kind of just hanging out today. I have the day off. She does not. So I'm going to run a few errands and so on and so on. And I just plan on having a fun time today. Anyway, I have a Things Like Goosebumps video for you. Also, let me know down in the comments section about what you think about this new setup. I feel like it's a little bit more professional. The only problem is I can see outside. People walk by with their dogs. People have, just their little errands they run. People watch you. It's odd. It's really odd. Anyway, there's some birds right there too that are feeders. That's pretty fun. So if you see something flying by the light in front of me, that's exactly why. Because I'm using natural lighting, which I actually think, looking at this little sidebar preview thing on the side of my camcorder, it looks like it might look a little bit better. So, I don't know. Anyway, today we're talking about R.L. Stine's Just Beyond, which is the first book, The Scare School. I think it's the first book, I believe. I think there's 3 or 4 of these now. They're not all the same characters from what I understand. It's kind of a Goosebumps type thing. And this one in particular kind of relies more on the sci-fi side, a little bit more so than the horror side. But there is a little bit of horror scattered in there. There's a little bit of humor, the typical type of R.L. Stine stuff. This is a graphic novel, aka a comic book. This was not released in issues as far as I know. It's just one full book, which is why I call it a graphic novel. I know it's kind of a debate on that topic, what that phrase is used for, but that's what I think it's used for. Anyway, The Scare School. I gotta tell you, man, really enjoyed this. I also wanted to give a shout out to the 2 people who did the artists here. They're twin sisters, Kelly and Nicole Matthews. Dude, the art looks really solid for modern day comics and graphic novel releases, which I expected just as good, if not better, from Stine's type of work for a comic book type thing. I'm a big fan of the Goosebumps graphics series. If you've seen my channel review for those, I've done a couple of them, not all of them, but a couple of them out of like the 3 or 4 that exist. There might just be 4. I don't know. There might be a 5th one I'm not thinking about. But compared to the IDW comics that have been coming out for Goosebumps, which is mostly what my channel's focused on, those are horrible. This is really solid. Really solid. I really enjoyed this for the most part. I gotta tell you, the ending is a little weak for me. It's a little odd. I get where Stine's coming from. It's your typical Stine type of book these days, if you've read any of the Slappy World books, where most of the book is really solid. You're really engaged. And that last, I guess, chapter, if it was a Goosebumps book, but in this case, it's like the last page is kind of like, what? A little odd. Anyway, the story starts off with 3 folks that are dressed kind of weird. They have like a white straitjacket looking thing, but it's like an unfastened straitjacket, and they're all wearing shorts. The 3 folks, it's like 2 boys and a girl, I believe. They're kind of just walking through the halls of an empty school, and apparently other classes are in session and stuff. Apparently they're not from this school for whatever reason. I don't want to get too much into that, but they kind of are from a place called the Scare School, and they have their little situation. There's a betrayal that takes place, and those 3 folks end up going back to where they came from. I know that's very vague. I'm trying to be very vague because I don't want to tell you too much. One thing, in this school that they've never been inside of before, they encounter a creature from their Scare School place called a drog, I believe is what it's called. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the name of this thing. Yeah, because the first chapter in here is called They Sent a Drog. A drog is like this cricket spider-looking thing. It's really creepy. It's like an alien, robot thing, but it's like an animal that has mechanizations inside of it. I don't really know how to explain it. But you don't really see the mechanic parts. It's just mostly a weird-looking robot with yellow eyes and big red, things on the side of its neck. You ever seen a turtle have an ear infection? That's kind of what it looks like. It's really odd. I kept thinking about my mom's pet turtles when I saw that thing. But anyway, this thing's kind of threatening, honestly. And they constantly refer in this book to kids getting killed. Not like, they kind of call it termination, but it's clearly pushed to be killed. And then they say things like, now you'll die, and stuff like that when you have the big villain get into the book. So I was kind of surprised. This seems like it's more aimed towards kids. It comes from Boom Studios, I believe. Yeah, Kaboom. Sorry, not Boom Studios. It does the WWE comics and stuff. This is from Kaboom Studios, and I think the book is actually pretty fun. Now, once those 3 main kids kind of go back to where they came from, the Scare School, as the title shows, you actually have another set of 3 different kids that are from that school, and they're there's a brother and sister that are twins. They don't really get along all the greatest, but they're not like a Goosebumps type of brother and sister where they fight the whole book. Then they have a friend that's over there too, and they all go to school together, of course, and everything else. And at some point, the main girl stumbles across the couple of kids at the beginning of the book, and like the prologue, if you want to call it a prologue, even though it's called Chapter 1. Now, that Drog, of course, was hunting down those 3 kids. It kind of captured them and sent them back to the scare school. Our main 3 kids that we now follow throughout the book are trying to figure out what happened to those kids, and then they have an interesting situation when they find the boiler inside of the basement of the school that they're actually attending. Now, the scare school itself is kind of it's a very interesting type of thing. If you've read a lot of Goosebumps like myself, or even some of it, you probably have a really good gist of what Stein's writing is like, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is very Stein-like. Now I kind of get, because I think there's like 3 or 4 of these now, I understand why there's not so many Slappy World books not coming out each year. There's like 3 a year, which is plenty for me, because it gives me time to kind of space out stuff and buy other things. I don't have to buy one every single month. But I know why we're not getting so many books a year from Stein from this. Number 1, because he's older. It's just the frank truth. But number 2, because he's working on other things like this and what he was doing the Fear Street books years ago, the newer ones. So, yeah, we have all that stuff. But anyway, if you want some good R.L. Stine, if you're a big fan of R.L. Stine or a collector of Stein's work, this is a good one to get. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to read the other 2 trades, 2 or 3, whatever there is out there. This was really fun. I like the title Just Beyond. I think that's a really cool title. How come I can't come up with titles like that for series I'm working on, like writing-wise? I don't know. But I had a really good time with this. Again, Kelly and Nicole Matthews, the art is really, really good in here. I really dig it. I wish it looked more like this cover here. That's the only bummer I have. But the art itself does not look horrible. Some panels look a little bit better than others just because of the coloring. I'll kind of show you something neat. I'll show you what the Drog looks like from the first chapter. There's a Drog. Can you see that kind of well? I guess, maybe. Yeah. It's kind of threatening. I'm terrified of spiders and bug type things. This is more like a bug that's been messed with in science fiction type stuff. So that was eerie. It has a good atmosphere to it. I really enjoy it. I like the humor in here from the main best friend character. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. Again, it's kind of like your typical Goosebumps book thing where I don't really remember a lot of characters' names. I'm not surprised that each book is not really tied in together. I looked at the preview for the next book. I forgot what it is or what it's called, but you can tell it's not the same kids. I'm not surprised by that. Stein's kind of like me. I like writing characters when I'm good at it, or when I have a really good set of characters, but eventually I just do like Dean Koontz, I just reuse the same characters over and over again, or I'd rather go this route and not have to get too engaged with my characters and kind of just let them experience things, let them be the window for the reader, you know? But yeah, I really like this. I think it's pretty good. I kind of expected, I feel like when I bought this, I didn't rush to read it. I've had tons of people recommend this to me over time, but I didn't rush to read it because I saw the art at first and wasn't impressed with it, and I feel like I didn't take a good enough look at it and really take time to think about it. A lot of modern day comics and graphic novels don't have the best art. They kind of suck. A lot of people are getting hired on all the things in the world but merit and talent. And so you have really crappy art in a lot of comic books. I love comics. You know, my boy Goosebumps Completionist and I talk about comics all the time and movies from comics and stuff like that. So this is a situation where I'm kind of like, I'm really kind of surprised the art's actually pretty good. It kind of surprised me a little bit and kind of improved the reading a little bit. If you're a comic fan like myself, you're probably not going to be too impressed with the art, but for common day, modern day fare, I think most kids and teens would be kind of surprised by what they're seeing in here. So even so, I don't really have too much more to say. Not the best characters, again, that's kind of a typical thing with Stein. But I enjoyed it. I had a fun time reading this. It was kind of like almost like a Twilight Zone type thing when you experience the scare school and how it's kind of like a mishmash of, you know, George Orwell's 1984 and kind of an Animal Farm type of thing, maybe an Ayn Rand anthem type thing. If you're familiar with any of those things, you kind of see that, and even like The Perfect School, if you've seen The Perfect School from Goosebumps, the 2 episodes in the short story, I think is what it was based on. If you've seen any of those things or read any of those things or watched any of those movies and stuff, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's kind of a very formal, wear a particular wardrobe to school type of thing. The Scare School has a lot more other things that are very interesting about it I don't want to give away, just because the comic is so short. It's a very short book in general. Of course, this flies by even faster than a Goosebumps book, but man, I had a good time reading this. It's probably about 100 pages if I had to guess, and it was really fun. Really, really fun. I had a good time this week reading this. I've been kind of busy this week with work and just kind of training people and stuff. It's been really busy, dude. Oh man, but have a 4-day weekend, so I'm planning on getting a little bit of reading done, doing some other things, hanging out with family on Easter Sunday, and worshiping God, and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So anyway, R.L. Stein's Just Beyond, book number 1, The Scare School. I believe it's number 1. I believe it's not on the spine like the Goosebumps book, so I can't really tell, but I'm pretty sure this is book number 1. People kept telling me about it. I kept seeing the special edition at Barnes & Noble. I might even pick that up sometime, just because I really, really enjoyed this, and I collect Stein anyway. But if I had to rate the book on a 5-star basis, I'd probably give it... I had a really solid time. I'd probably give it about maybe a 4 out of 5 stars. I know that seems like a little high. I even kind of think this a little high, but I really think it was kind of fitting, you know? I really dug it. I really recommend it if you haven't read it before. I haven't read a whole lot of Stein's comics. I read what is that thing? Man-Thing? Yeah, Man-Thing. I read his Marvel Comics Man-Thing run he did a few years ago. It's like 3 or 4 issues long. It's not a very long book. I didn't read the whole thing. I read the first 2 issues, and then I got busy. I had to do some other stuff. Never came back to it for whatever reason. So that was really good. The art was way better there than here. But again, R.L. Stine, Kelly and Nicole Matthews, you guys all did a great job with this. I really enjoyed it. I recommend it to you guys if you haven't read it before. Again, 4 out of 5 stars might seem a little high, but I was kind of surprised. It's kind of a weird thing. I feel like if this had come out back in the day in the glory of comics and stuff, I feel like it'd be like a 3 out of 5, but like compared to most things now, and with Stein's type of writing and the way he writes his comics and his stories in general, like Goosebumps and Fear Street and all that kind of stuff, it felt different, and I liked that. It feels like if you were ever going to turn Goosebumps into just straight up nothing but comics, not the terrible IDW, SJW trash, but if you were going to do real types of comics with Goosebumps and adapt stories and classic books and stuff from the old 90s era, this is the way you should do it. Have people like Kelly and Nicole Matthews with their type of art style and whatnot, because it fits. It fits just fine. I really enjoy it. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? I like the Drogs a whole lot. I think they're pretty cool. There's a lot of those in here. But there was some interesting stuff that happened here. A lot of stuff I was kind of surprised to see it in like a middle grade kids type book. But still, pretty solid read. Anyway, what did you guys think about The Scare School? If you read this book, do you like the Just Beyond series? Let me know down below what you think about it. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. I feel like my video was a little bit more on focus today. I don't know if it's because I slept in or because I got to stay up late last night or I've had the day off. I've been relaxing and lazy and stuff, everything today. Or the new filming location. I'm not really sure what the deal is. But still, let me know down in the comment section down below what you think about all this stuff and this review. And yeah, God bless you guys. Happy Easter. Goodbye.